So, welcome to this edition of Chamber Chatter. I am delighted to have Chuck Tiernan with the Community Foundation Tampa Bay here in our Emery's Rock Realty studio. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, we are going to break some news today and talk a little bit about the Community Foundation, what it means, where we're going, what you guys can do. You guys are really awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
I know that you serve a lot. Pull the mic up so we can make sure that we get your. You can move the whole stand.
We have
There.
a fantastic team, so
Yes,
I'm very
you
proud of
do.
our
So,
community.
so talk a little bit about what the Community Foundation is.
So the Community Foundation works to elevate philanthropy in our community, meaning people and organizations have resources they want to give to community good, and we have the knowledge and the information about what those needs are, what nonprofits are serving, what causes, and so we work to pair those up, match those together in a way.
And you guys have a grant process
Yes.
that you do. And so let's talk a little bit. How much money a year do you guys give away?
Last year was $55 million.
Wow.
That includes donor-advised work. That includes $5.1 million after our 2024 hurricanes that we mobilized for the community very quickly in just a few weeks afterwards. And since our founding in 1990, we've actually given $468 million, I believe, in grants.
Oh my God. That's our community funding our community.
Exactly.
That and it's hence the Community Foundation.
Right.
And you guys have recently made a concerted effort to move a little further north.
Yes, we've always served 5 counties, so Pinellas and Hillsborough, but Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus have been an area that we have been supporting for quite some time. And so now we are, as the area continues to grow, I'm here with you today because North Tampa Bay Chamber has said, hey, let's have Chuck around the community a little bit more. Let's have easier access to us by having some community office hours. And we do that here, and we do it over in Newport Richey.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Board chair for 2025, Angelique Lennox. Each year, my board chair has I won't say a passion project, but something that we want to focus on. And last year, hers was nonprofits. And how can we connect our nonprofits with the resources that they need, not just money. Sometimes it's awareness, sometimes it's an office, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. We have a large nonprofit sector of our chamber. And so we had a nonprofit spotlight, we had different initiatives throughout the year, but now we have office hours here at our chamber office. This is the breaking news. This is what we're talking about. You all should have received our press release announcing this, but it's so exciting to have you here on the second and fourth Thursday of every month. You're going to be here in my office, our office, our chamber office, our members' office, to offer education, support, a person. If you run a nonprofit, they can make an appointment with you.
And that benefit runs both ways, because as we learn about what our nonprofits seeing, what are businesses seeing in the community, and being able to have those conversations, I become a bit of the eyes and ears that we bring back to those folks that help provide that $55 million that we grant. So it's a perfect marriage of, we can offer some expertise, we can offer some tools that the businesses or the nonprofits can use, but I also get smarter as we sit and talk about community need and where are things going on that we didn't know about yet.
Right,
So.
and that's part of what the chamber does as well, is we try to have our finger on the pulse of what's happening so that we can be proactive rather than reactionary. We want to leave the reactionary to the pandemics and the hurricanes and natural disasters. But I know, right? Oh, thank God we didn't have one this year. But to be prepared.
Exactly.
A nonprofit at its core is still a business.
Exactly.
They just have a different tax status, and so they need to be a healthy business and how to run a healthy business. And so you guys have a partnership with the Nonprofit Leadership Center.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. So it's one of the number of ways that we try to offer tools that strengthen philanthropy. Nonprofit Leadership Center is a great partner in, giving classes for nonprofits, doing board retreats, things of that nature. So they have a bunch of expertise in their team, and so we work closely with them to say, what are the things that nonprofits are needing? We do offer them a kind of a partnership grant every year to continue to do that work and to strengthen philanthropy. We look at our competitive grant process where some of that $55 million goes out from, as well as something we call our critical needs list, as the two sort of online, those are ways that we get information from our nonprofits about what are the needs of the day. Critical needs comes up, after a hurricane, those sorts of things. Competitive grants we do annually. We're in that cycle now. We had over 400 applications.
Yeah.
And the good news is that our work to be visible up here in our northern counties has increased the number of applications we got this year by 50%.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We did share that with our chamber members
Good.
that are in the nonprofit. Said, hey, jump on this call
Right.
and learn about what's available. I mean, since 1990, I mean, all the money that you guys have given, and it's a whole process because you guys receive the money from donors or trusts or different other grants throughout the country or locally to be able to give that out.
Yeah, and we have so many donors that trust us with their legacy.
Sure.
So when they move to their next life and they leave their resources behind, we're the ones that help steward that to the causes that they believed in and do that with the integrity of donor intent. But some of those dollars are left somewhat flexible. So that's part of what happens with our competitive grant process is we take those dollars where we know we can match them to an application. There are still some applications and some needs that we can't fund that way, but because we have donor relationships that are very deep, we're able to do what we call first looks. And so we have the opportunity for our donor fund holders to take a look at some of the things we funded, some of the other things that we haven't been able to fund, and they can decide, do we want to do our donor-directed giving connected to these community needs? So again, those applications from the competitive grants, the applications or the posting on the critical needs list, people like myself being out in the community, those all become the eyes and ears of the community foundation to match up resources to need.
So you play two part. Well, the community foundation plays two parts. So you've got your donors. Those are the people. So are you guys broken up into kind of two parts at the office of the donors and the spenders?
Sort of, yeah, and we can't leave out our finance team, our administrative team, because we have probably close to 250,000 transactions a year, either in dollars coming in or dollars going out. A lot of that driven by our donors and our competitive grant process. But there's a significant load that it takes to do the $55 million in grants. And again, it's all very, very positive work because you're addressing something that you've learned as a community need, whether that's feeding, whether that's education, whether that's a faith-based project. All of those things come into play.
And so any nonprofit can apply, participate, learn from what you guys are doing, or do you have the critical needs? Obviously, they rise to the top, but any nonprofit, so animal services or...
We have 5 focus areas, and those are on our website, which is cftampabay.org.
Okay,
So,
we'll make sure that we put that on there so they
That's
can
right.
find you on the podcast.
Absolutely. And that once a nonprofit gets in that, they can jump into our competitive grants portal. They can go ahead and jump in there, register, get themselves settled in, and then those other things happen. Competitive grants are annual.
Okay.
The critical needs list, we will usually post or open that when there is something. We did it with the hurricanes. We did it with the government shutdown. So there's usually some specific criteria, and if it has impacted nonprofits in a certain way, we'll try to spell out and say this is the current issue that we think we can solve with this critical needs list. And that just gets put right in front of our donors immediately so that anyone who has a particular cause that they care about, a particular charity that they care about, they can see that right on their screen and they're emailed. So they'd be able to see, one of the charities that I love had a roof damage in the hurricane, and we didn't know that, but we're going to give out of our donor advised fund to help them overcome that challenge.
And grants are money that you don't have to pay back. Correct?
Absolutely.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about that because, grants are what nonprofits mostly rely on in their donors. And so having an opportunity to apply, and we were talking before the show about just kind of the process and how it's a lot. I mean, we have a 501c3 foundation. I'm not a grant writer. I can't write a grant,
Right.
but I could be a part of one. And I'm
Right.
sure that there's areas that we support that there's money
Right.
to support as well. So
Right.
let's talk a little bit about grants in general, about what they're intended for.
So depending on the focus area, so again, we have a couple different places that education touches. Basic needs is one of the areas, environment, arts and culture, things of that nature. The intention is illustrate to us that you have a program or a strong need to be able to serve your community in a specific way. We simply ask folks to be able to communicate to us, what's the need. Using data, we give them some data resources to check into, so explain the need, explain your solution and why you think that's going to work, and then in the case of whether it's an existing program or you're modeling it after something that's a best practice somewhere else, give us some data that shows us why you think this solution will work, and then obviously logistical information like budgets and the how you're going to find the population that you're intending to serve. Those things, if approved, obviously the grant goes out. You get to use the grant in the way that you asked us to fund it, or you asked our donors to fund it, and then we have a reporting process
I
later.
was going to ask
come back
about
and
that.
say, here's how it went. Here's what happened with those dollars, and that, of course, again, becomes more good information for us. You'll often find that we'll fund out of our competitive grant process a project, and the project will start to catch on among the community, and all of a sudden you have donors that want to participate in it too. And that's really the bottom line for us, is to help build those relationships with people that have the resources that they want to give.
So you guys follow the money, so
Yes.
to speak,
Yes.
to see what kind of impact
Yes.
it has. Obviously, you want to fund something that's going to have a ripple effect and have that continued
Right.
impact.
Right. And without prejudicing the process, we do things with nonprofits to help them understand how does, if you're denied as a grant applicant, for example, we will offer you a 30-minute conversation with one of our impact professionals to say, here's the feedback across multiple grant readers. Here's the kind of feedback we got. Help them strengthen the applications next time, and not just to us. I mean,
Oh, that's awesome.
they're
So
gonna-
you don't get just the denied. You
No,
get it.
absolutely not.
We reviewed it.
Yeah.
5 different people reviewed
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Here's the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how you can do better, make some changes for the next funding cycle.
Exactly.
That's
And not
awesome.
and not just ours. I mean, we're cognizant of the fact that they have probably 10 or 12 applications a year that
Sure.
go out. So if we can strengthen their knowledge of how did we perceive something that they said, and they strengthen that in the next application, they might get funded by someone else. So
And that's perfect.
yeah, it makes us, in that way we look at it as we're not only a strengthener, but we feel like we're a friend of philanthropy. So we don't, again, you don't want to just stamp and say no.
Right.
You want to say, how do we make philanthropy better for the people that they're trying to serve?
And that's awesome, because that feedback helps them grow as a nonprofit.
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully. And, and then it also, I think I used the term skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you that this nonprofit is serious. It's
Yes.
not a fly-by-night
Yes.
organization that's just taking the money and buying handbags.
Yes.
You
And-
know?
And there's always more need in the community than there are dollars
Sure.
to support it. So I think that's the hardest part of our job, is saying, wow, there's some really good things that right now we're not able to fund, but that's where, again, we build our donors, our individuals and businesses that we have relationships with, so that we can say, let's hold this application up and just see who else loves what this is all about. And if it's not unrestricted dollars that can fund it, maybe it's someone who hasn't funded that organization before that decides they really like a particular project.
So I met you 3 different times before we actually made the final connection. But Jenny Batchelor from Pasco County Schools
Right.
has a program that you guys are funding.
Yes.
Called Spark.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because it ties in and it kind of shows the whole cycle, if you will, of the community foundation.
So the buzzword that describes Spark would be, it's a collective impact initiative. So it's a group of organizations, school district, Pasco Education Foundation, and many of our healthcare organizations that are here in Pasco, or the EDCs, folks like yourself are involved. And it brings together partners, Community Foundation as well, brings together partners around an issue. In this case, it's helping strengthen the workforce by increasing the talent pipeline.
Oh, which is
So-
a huge
so much
need.
Yeah, so much of what the Community Foundation does, when you think about it, even if it's funding a nonprofit that does basic needs, that might be the kind of support that strengthens the community. It might strengthen people's families who have to go to work the next day. So even in funding a feeding program locally, you really are supporting the community that strengthens the workforce, right? So everything we do really comes back to a strong community equals a strong economy and a strong, a vibrant area to live. The Spark Pasco Hernando College Access Network is the full name of the initiative. Again, it's designed to have 2/3 of working age adults holding some kind of credential after high school for education or training.
But they get while they're in high school, or no? It's after. Okay.
It's high school, after high school. The idea is, what is a high-value credential that allows them to get into a career path that's going to provide them with a strong living wage for themselves and their family. What Spark does is, the best way to describe it is, Spark feels more like a we than an it. Mm-hmm. So it's a group of organizations saying, there are already good things going on at the school district. What can we do as a community to accelerate or amplify that work in a way that it gets stronger, or it serves more people, or whatever the case may be? A good example is Pasco High School has recently opened what we would call a college and career center. They did that with some philanthropic dollar help. Always had good career advising at Pasco High School, but it pulled that office away from an area that was a little less visible and put it right out in the middle of campus. Put some, nice furnishings, nice technology in it, so that it was an appealing place for students to come.
So they were, they wanted to go?
And now students spend more time. Hopefully they bring their friends in when they come, say, hey, why are you going in there? Let's go into. And it becomes an appealing place for them to be. And when they're in there, the conversations are preparing for that next step. What kind of training would you need if you're going to go to work right out of high school? What kind of short-term training can you get if you're going to go to Marchman Technical College after school? What are the application requirements if you're going to go to USF or Pasco Hernando State College? Those kinds of things, where it starts the process a little sooner, adds visibility to it, and makes it something that students can get on the path to having a plan earlier.
Oh, you're very knowledgeable about Spark. I mean, that's just a little commercial for that. And I was sharing with Chuck, our chamber was founded in 1998. Sleep Chapel was just a small community. And our chamber was founded to support the business community, to support education in schools. Perfect. So that has been at the core of everything that we do since 1998. And I don't know that we get that message out enough, but Jenny Batchelor sits on our board. And we had this conversation just last month at our board meeting, because when I was in high school, we didn't go to the guidance counselor or resource out. We didn't go. It was just like, you don't figure it out until like the last 3 months of high school, where now it's so much more important to have that pipeline of students and understanding that not every student is going to college, which is perfectly fine. Right. Actually, it's kind of better financially if you really look at it.
It's important, right?
It's important,
and the definition of college just needs to be broadened.
Correct.
Again, you've got Marchman Technical College, and there's a reason for those things. It's those workforce credentials that allow you to be trained in a specific craft, or an apprenticeship that gets you into construction or HVAC or those sorts of things. They're critically important. They're great careers. I've bumped into a lot of parents that don't understand that apprenticeships generally are paid positions that you're learning as you go, but it's a job that is training you at the same time. And, those kinds of misnomers and misinformation, that's one of the things that Spark tries to correct.
And so many of our businesses would love to have an apprenticeship program. I was meeting with an IT company yesterday, and he was like, I dropped out of high school as a senior. I own an IT company. Right. I would love to have somebody, an apprentice, that I could teach the trade and pay.
Yes.
And I'm like, This is exactly what the chamber does. We're a connector, a convener, and a catalyst.
And it doesn't prevent, if you get a skill to go immediately to work, it doesn't prevent you from continuing to get a business degree that someday you're going to branch off on your own and open your own business.
Right.
And so there's no barriers there to any of that. It just depends on where you start and how you want to navigate the path.
And so we continue to have those conversations, and you having office hours here is going to open up that. So I want to thank you and your leadership team for coming and allowing us the opportunity to show our community what you guys do and the impact that you have, and to include them.
Yeah, well, thank you for your vision of saying this is how we connect to our community, and these are the passion projects of our leadership, and these things are a perfect match, so let's find a way to make that visible to our folks.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be great. That's one of the reasons why we have this beautiful office, was that we could be a place where others can gather and have meetings, and that's part of our convening. And so we're delighted to, and that's already started. So you're here on the second and fourth Thursday of every month in the afternoon, right?
Yes, 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
1 to 5, and folks can make an appointment if they wish, and that's that way it fits their schedule, my schedule, or just drop in.
That's great, because our office closes at 4.
Okay.
So you're giving us a whole nother free hour of the chamber being open.
You'll have to teach me how to lock the door.
I will do that. I absolutely will do that. Well, Chuck, I want to make sure that I covered everything that you wanted to talk about today, because and this isn't the end of the conversation.
No.
This is good. This is just the beginning.
Right.
And I can't wait to next year say, here's the impact that Chuck being in the office has had.
And I think the message I'll close with is just that the art of giving and being a philanthropist has changed, and it's not just, hey, let me go to this dinner and write a check. It's not just putting a check in the mail to your favorite nonprofit anymore. And as that has changed, so have the tools that we made available. People look at this now as part of their life plan, so they want to give now, they want to give later, they might want to leave a legacy of giving. And we have those tools. We can expose you to what things would make your heart warm in doing that. We don't tell you this is the place you'll give. We actually give you some options and say, did you know? And let people gravitate toward what's important. And if you want to stay anonymous in doing that, we can help you do that as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's just, it is very heartwarming, and I know that you celebrate your successes each year and everything that you do. So we thank you. We're excited about this journey and really bolstering our nonprofit community and in all the different segments. So
Look forward to all the new relationships we'll build being here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.